and welcome to the Unity Excel trading model live stream. Today we are going to be talking about all things related to automated trading. We're going to be talking about signals, we're going to be talking about strategies. What else are we going to be doing? We're going to be talking about some of the implementation issues which are very important, but they're not often discussed about. With me today to talk about these things is Ren Vallow. How are you today, Ren?
Good morning, Mark. Good. It's a good day here in Colorado, and it's actually sunny. So I should probably switch up my background, but
Yeah, we're
yeah.
still looking at snowy Denver at the moment.
Yeah. I got to switch that up.
Is not though.
We're out of the
It's
snow.
we're in summer now.
Yeah, we're in summer, and actually, but it's been raining like every day here. So,
Really?
but today it's actually sunny, at least right now.
Yeah.
But we've had the most rain I've seen in probably 20 years.
Wow.
Yep. It's been pretty incredible. So yeah, I'll switch it up so we can get a real sunny background.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the summer starts here, doesn't it? We're in June now, so in fact we've gone past May. So does that mean we should be selling our stock
Yeah, maybe. Well,
portfolio?
that's the theory, right?
Yeah.
Go summer May, go away. But actually, I think this year is a little bit of a different setup for us. I mean, it seems like markets are becoming more momentum to the upside, and it's trending upwards, which is
Mm.
unusual for summertime.
Yeah, we're definitely at this moment. It seems on everything we can see on the chart, at least tech stocks for sure are in a bull market again.
Yep, I think it's the excitement over AI and all the
Yeah.
things that they think AI will be able to do for different industries. So
Yeah.
it's got everyone excited.
It's a big disruptor, isn't it? AI, at least potentially.
Mhm. It's a potential disruptor for sure. Yeah.
So
Even in our
welcome that everybody is watching the live stream. Please say hi in the chat if you've got any questions, comments, or thoughts about anything that we are talking about. Just drop it in the chat box, and we will be happy to respond. So what we're going to be talking about, just at the beginning here at least, is the Excel trading model, and that's at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you have any problems with sound and or the visibility of anything, let me know as well, and I'll do what I can to resolve that. It's currently saying we've got a good stream health, so if there's any problems, just let me know. So I'm going to expand it, and we can have a look at the Excel trading model, which we are trading and enjoying ourselves, aren't we, Ren?
Yes, absolutely. We've had a couple good weeks here.
We
Um,
have.
we've we've got two strategies running, and they've both been doing well.
Yeah, we can talk about what we think's going on, and but I'll just tell you briefly for the people watching what I've got on the screen here. I've got the Unity Excel trading model. Just expand it a bit here. Excel strategy. We've backtested in Excel. We have developed it in Excel, and now we are running it in Excel. The Excel model connects to MT5 MetaTrader 5, which is a platform that is available all over the world, and Excel talks directly to the server, so there's no messing around connecting to a platform on your desktop. It is connecting and speaking directly to your server. Have you got any thoughts about that, actually, Ren? I know we've talked about it before.
Yeah. In what way, Mark? What would you like to expand on for the model here?
Well,
What would you
we've
like to know?
talked about this before, and I know it's something that you were keen on, this MetaTrader 5, this MT5 connection.
Yep.
Why you
It's
like it in particular? Because we could use MT4, which is, even though it's an older platform, it seems to be more widely available, and there are a myriad of other platforms out there. Why have we chosen MT5?
Well, it's basically the ease of use. They've created an API that integrates seamlessly with MT5, allows you to do all the things you want to do without interfering with the chart system. If you want to look at the charts and look at the platform and play with it, it doesn't interfere with the data streams. Whereas in the past, and also other platforms that we've used in the past, like Rhythmic, if you adjust the charts, it would affect the data streams directly, which was not really optimal for if you're letting your automated trading happen. You want to be able to play around in the charts, do your thing. And also, they were very dependent on the DLLs with Excel, where this one's pretty independent. It's they have an API open, and you can use any programming language you want to connect to it.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a library of tools that you can use in
Yep.
that API. So it's a seamless integration, much easier to use than other systems that we've tried to work with. And
Mm.
not to say that there could be really good ones out there like Ninja Trader and stuff like that, but this one's very, very good. It's free,
Yep.
which is also nice, and doesn't require you to set up an expensive account to do testing. So all in all, it just every single thing we've looked at so far is a win,
Yeah.
except for one
Apart from
item.
anything, you can do a ton of back testing on any time frame you like, from the 1 minute to the 1 month. So that's one. I can't even think of all the numbers, but 1, 2, 3, 5 minute charts, 4, 5 minute charts, 6, 10, 12. There's all these different time frames that you can get data depending on where you get it from. You can get absolutely masses of data, so you can do very in-depth testing, and like you said, you don't need to sign up for an expensive brokerage account to get that data. So
Yep.
that's what we're doing. We're getting the data into Excel, and at this moment I am running it on the 1 minute time frame, which we've done before many times on this live stream to demonstrate the model. We are not, appear to currently be in any trades. Let's have a look. No trades open at the moment. We'll see if we can get some trades soon and demonstrate it. So we're using our Bollinger Band strategy, mean reversion strategy. We've got some more thoughts and ideas about implementation coming up about that quite soon. So this is our main strategy, isn't it, Ren? We've been running it now on a signals on MT5 or whatever it's called. Is it MT5, MQL5?
Yep. Yep.
MQL5 signals. I'll show it on the screen in a moment. And
Yes.
we've been using the same basic strategy. Somebody wrote an email to me earlier today, and I'll talk about that in a sec as well. But we've been making slow iterations as we've got more data and more information about the strategy and how it implements.
Yeah, the last time I looked, we were actually in a trade on our live trading strategy that's in the signaling software.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we were actually, well, you never know. Things turn around fast, but we were up a profitable trade at that time. So
Yeah.
hopefully it's still there. Let me take a look here and see how we're making out. But yeah, that's still running live. It's been running now for about 2.5 months, 3 months. Oh, it looks like we closed that trade and it was profitable.
Good.
So we just closed a trade on our signaling software,
Okay, that's good
which
to see.
which is essentially the same, exactly what you're seeing on the screen with Mark's running. It's just running. It's just been running in the background for a couple months.
Yeah. So I'm just going to put that up for those of you on the live stream. So that is not showing fully. Let's see if I can adjust that.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Let's try it again. There we go. Hold on one moment. There we go. So we've got these are the signals we've been running. So this strategy has evolved over time. We had a good month in May, and it just seemed, didn't it, that the market, we're trading the euro US dollar, it got into that range and we were getting loads of mean reversion trades.
Yep. It was really good. So yeah, what do you think about that, Mark? What do you think? Why was May so much better than the rest of the previous times? Like
Yeah, well, I mean, I think fundamentally, for me at least, it was that reason. It was just a mean reverting time. We were getting more trading opportunities. We introduced towards the end of May. And this is what Mike. Hope you're on here today, Mike. If not, you're watching this on catch up. Asked me about, have we made any changes to the model? And the answer is yes. We are iterating it slowly over time. Now, during the time, the model, let's stick that back on again, has been running. We've had a couple of dead ends. We'll
yeah,
talk about those as well in a sec. And we've had to roll back. We've had to roll back to an earlier version, but we introduced an iteration, an update to the model and the strategy towards the end of May. And it seems to have helped. We haven't got the counterfactual. We haven't tested the counterfactual, but it seems to have helped, and we've had a nice end to the month. And Another thing that we have done, and that again was a slightly iterative process, is we increased the position size. This wasn't something we'd necessarily planned on at the start, but we're using a fixed position size. We started off with 1 contract. We subsequently moved to 2 and then 4.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we could actually withstand a little bit larger because our trade sizes are, when you're looking at a $100,000 portfolio, normally you would want to be very, very careful with how many contracts you're trading. But our risk management is very good using our Excel sheets. So we have a very strict stop loss and profit target. And when you're using a very strict stop loss, your max loss is very low. So I think that outside of any malfunctions, like an outage, our risks are really low. So 4 contracts seems to be very, very good. We could probably bump it up just a little bit more. I think that most people would agree that taking 2% of your portfolio risk in a trading system is probably okay. And we're way under that. So yeah, I think we could afford to take even a little bit larger trades if we wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. So I think probably the key thing I think we're both saying here is that we're iterating slowly. We're building up an evidence-based, because any particular time, Mike, hi there, good to see you on the live stream. Yeah, that spike in May, it did coincide with when we brought in the new sheet. I think it was just a good period as well as the changes that we've made. We did increase the position size around that time. Again, that was something that was not necessarily related to. We didn't think that was going to make a big difference. We were just adjusting the risk that we'd observed to our position size to the amount of risk we had observed up until that point. One thing I discussed actually talking about position sizing is we talked about it on the last one of these about increasing our position size on the basis on the back of a winning trade. So I've subsequently done a bit more analysis. Actually, I published an article on that on Trade Informed. My conclusion, and I think it's still valid for this particular strategy, is the win rate is not high enough to warrant increasing position size based on a previous winning trade.
Yeah, that makes sense, Mark. I mean, yeah, you're taking on more risk, but not necessarily going to have a better win rate. So
yeah, even adjusting for risk, the thing is about increasing having a high. If you have a high win rate, you've got a good chance of having a succession of wins. Once you start getting to 3, 4, 5 wins in a row, you're almost guaranteed a good payoff because you've accumulated more gains than you would subsequently lose, even if you've got a larger position size, and that's just because of the math, the math involved here. But if you're constantly going up and down a little bit, you're in that 40% to 60% range, it isn't generally worth it because the losing trades that you'll get if you have 1 win and 1 loss mean you'll be further back than you would otherwise have been. At least that's the way I see it.
It was good research, Mark, and I really appreciate that too because we were really wondering if that would help. And we've talked a lot about position sizing. I think just taking a reasonable risk, fixed position size makes a lot of sense in this particular strategy.
Yeah. So, Mike, looks like you went 4 contracts back in April. You may well be correct.
Yes.
About that. Ren, you'd know better than I when we introduced that.
Yep. That is true. We moved up to 4 contracts and we've been running 4 contracts since then. And we just had I would say that May was a little bit of an anomaly because the strategy, the type of market we were in May was just very good. So we did better than we would have. If we were just at 1 contract, we would still be up on the year, but probably not quite as much.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. So yeah, thanks for that, Mike. Appreciate your feedback on that. So 4 contracts seems to be working well. Okay, so we are currently we should actually be in a sell trade, but what I realized is if I have not actually activated Algo trading in MT5. So let's see if I can get that up and running as we go.
And while you're doing that, Mark, I can talk about like we recently, over the last couple of weeks, have started running multiple strategies with different symbols and different accounts on different sheets at the same time on the same computer. So it is
Yeah.
possible to do that. I found it to be a little bit of it's complex. So in the sense that it's easy to set up, but it's complex to manage because you've got multiple Excel sheets open. There's a lot, you introduce the potential for a lot of human error, which I've experienced. And so,
Mm.
like, just having multiple sheets open and clicking on the wrong sheet and accidentally changing something you didn't mean to change is a risk when you're auto trading. So, my preference is still to just run one strategy at a time, but we have had a breakthrough where we can run multiple strategies, multiple symbols in different accounts, all on the same computer. It's just it's a little bit more for management perspective. So just to let people know that that is possible to do.
Yeah.
Um, it's just you got to be ready to do it. You have to really pay attention when you're working with the computer at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And we can talk more about that. And that actually brings me on to one of the things that I was going to talk about as well. This is the idea to keep watching the strategy in particular, like we've been talking about in response to the question from Mike. Keep watching the strategy and see what it's doing. See if it's doing what you expect it to be doing, because automated strategies, it's not fully autopilot, is it? We're dealing with
No,
ARN.
it's more like a trading assistant. While it takes all of the trades for you, it's important to keep an eye on things. And we talked about like MT5 is great. It has all these really great things about it, but they do a lot of updates, which is actually good. So there's a lot of support and they maintain their software. But sometimes they'll maintain their software more than once a day because they're doing updates constantly.
Mm.
And so that can be a little bit of an interference when you're auto trading. You don't want to be doing updates. So I did some research on how to prevent those automatic updates from taking place because they do interrupt your trading
Yeah.
when the system's rebooting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's a good tip for anybody actually doing automated trading is to watch it. But we can't always watch it. Sometimes we're out, sometimes we're busy. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on it, but B, prevent known problems from occurring. So we know that there is a chance that MT5 will push out an update. It's unlikely, I think, during the middle of a trading day, but just in case they do, you can switch off updates. Is that a setting, or how do we do that?
So yeah, it's trickier than you would think, but you have to go into the MT5 folder and then disable their live update.
Mm.
They have a special folder for their live updates, and you have pretty much have to remove that folder.
Hmm.
And we could probably put something on the webpage to talk about that. So
Yeah.
that's what I've been able to do. So you basically have to deal with your operating system too. Microsoft does updates, so you have to be
Yeah.
very careful to disable your Microsoft updates because during automatic trading in the middle of the night when we're sleeping, we don't want the computer to reboot itself.
Yeah.
So
And Microsoft has a tendency, Windows has a tendency to update overnight.
yeah,
We,
so you have to be careful with those.
yeah, I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? That we're in a trade, we're managing a trade. Our EA, our Excel file in this case, is managing the trade, but if it's not on, it can't manage it. We've got some fail safes built in. We've talked about these before as well. Stop loss and a profit target, but generally we don't want this to happen.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and what I found to be working for me is, as far as Windows go, there is an ability to postpone all updates for 7 days. And so I make sure that I continually do that. And then every weekend I'll do the updates. I'll let my
Mm.
Windows machine do the updates on the weekends only.
Yeah.
That helps with Windows, and with MT5 turning off the automatic updates helps. So far that's been a big improvement over May. Previously, we would have small outages because we hadn't really got grip on how to handle those updates. So
Yeah. We had an $800 loss when we were
yes,
just running one contract. So could have didn't really weren't overjoyed about that at the time, but it was a learning experience.
yep, yeah, we hit
And
our fail safe on that one. So
yeah,
that was
yeah. In fact, we've actually not only we've introduced the things that you're talking about there, we've also tightened up our fail-safe
yes.
stop as well.
Yeah, we've tightened up the fail-safe stop. So it's basically we're at $400 a contract right now is the max fail,
Hmm.
max that we'll experience. And we're still working out the details on how to adjust that dynamically. And I haven't really come up with a perfect solution to it. So right now we're just doing $400 a contract either
Hmm.
direction, which is way beyond our normal stop loss and profit targets. So
Yeah. So it keeps us safe, but we don't want to get into that situation if we can avoid it. But
yeah,
it's there to keep us safe. Um, so a couple of things there. Yeah, the multiple sheets. So that's running multiple strategies. So how would we use that? Ren, we would say we wanted to trade. Would you say the same? Say we wanted to trade the Bollinger strategy on the euro. I know you've looked at Aussie, US dollar, maybe other pairs as well. Could we do it? Could we use it in that way?
yes, yeah. So you can use it in multiple strategies. You can use multiple symbols. So you could do however many sheets your computer can handle running. There is a point where your computer will start to slow down because Excel doesn't use all the resources. It kind of uses a fixed amount of resources on your computer, and eventually Excel will slow down to the point where it's not usable. But I would say like running two or three strategies is pretty easy to do as long as you can manage it on your computer and not accidentally, click on the wrong sheet. So
Yeah,
that's where it becomes complex for me, is just making little small mistakes,
yeah.
clicking on a sheet that you didn't mean to.
Yeah, and but really for automated trading, certainly what I've seen, what I've experienced, and what we've talked about, it's a good idea to have the machine or the server that is running the strategy separate from your workspace, your normal workspace.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely keep a separate, a
Yeah,
virtual private server, or a separate laptop or computer that you want to run that can
yeah.
handle it. Yeah.
Running somewhere separately is it's just good practice. It's very easy to make a mistake, to confuse the spreadsheet, to accidentally switch it off, to do anything.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Generally the automation is the best part of it, but it's user error, as in all aspects of trading, that always seems to work against us, rarely for us.
Almost always. It's incredible. You think they would go in our direction like once in a while, but no.
Yeah,
It's like when a mistake happens, it usually goes against you.
yeah. It's going to even out one of these days. So we've
I
got
hope
talked
so.
about multiple strategies. Keep watching the strategy because there's two reasons. Obviously, if something might go wrong, like we've already talked about, but also like what Mike has asked. Anybody else have got any questions or comment, please pop them in the chat as well. Identifying why something has happened. There may not always be a why. We spoke about this before we came on. There may not always be a why. Why does the market mean revert? Well, maybe it just does. But on the other hand, there may be patterns to when it does that could increase the win rate. All we need to do is increase our win rate maybe by a few percentage points, maybe by 5%. And all of a sudden, a very average or losing strategy turns into a very successful one. So it's quite often these very small observations that can make a big difference. Times of day. I love times of day. I think that's very important. We've narrowed down for Bollinger Bands, for at least the ones that we're looking at closely, the best, the optimal width that we want to see for mean reversions and things like that, that will only unfold over time, but in the long run can make a big difference.
Right, and I think that's some of the things we did over the last 2 months. Is we found a little bit of an edge by adjusting the times of day of trading. Right, so we're limiting our trading times, and we've also measured the Bollinger Band width, maximum and minimum widths, and I think those have probably added a couple percentage points to our strategy, and that's another reason why it's performing a little better too.
Mm. Yeah, and it doesn't take much
Yeah.
as we said, just to get that extra little boost. So a couple of times I've alluded to, we've had to row back our strategy updates. It's easy to be gung ho, test something new, think this is the latest and greatest, and introduce it. And we've done that twice.
Yes.
Both times we stuck it out for about 2 or 3 weeks, and we had to, at that point, go back to the previous version.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. This is like that happens. I think that developing a really good testing model for yourself, like when you have a new sheet, test it out separately for a long time before you apply real money to it is the key here. Make sure you have a strict checklist of things that you want to make sure they work. The spreadsheet's working smoothly. There's no errors in the formulas, all those things. And also just, your average typo that you can accidentally make and not realize, and then it affects your automated trading. So yeah, have to really have a strict checklist on your testing.
Yeah,
Make sure it's perfect.
and for new versions, and you can't just hold on to these things. It's like holding on to a bad trade, isn't it? A bad update.
Yes. Yeah.
Seems to be the same thing. It could easily turn around. We think it's going to turn around, but we've got to give it enough time as well, because there's always going to be random chance having an effect. But both times we've lasted about 2 or 3 weeks, and then we've rode back, and then we've just gone back
Right.
to the original version of the model, or the previous version, I should say.
Right. We've had some where we find that we have a really good back test win rate. And so we're like, okay, we want to really run this live. But then forward testing, you find out 2 weeks later that it hasn't had any improvement at all. Actually, it's worse. But for some reason, it looks really good in the back test. And I don't know if that's just because it's a slightly curve fit strategy that we didn't even realize that we accidentally curve fit it. But yeah, that's something that you really need to run a strategy, I think, 2 weeks live. On a shorter term time frame, like if it's a longer term time frame, you may need to test it for months. If it's something on the daily time frame, you're going to be testing that forward like for a while before you realize that it's solid. So
Yeah,
like
I mean, I would, realistically, almost want a full calendar year before a daily.
yeah,
The thing is, you don't need to be running it that whole time. You can do your back test. Once you're looking at a daily time frame, things were a lot easier. Small, tiny differences in the spread can have a big impact on the 5 minute time frame. Are just irrelevant for the daily time frame. But developing a strategy, back testing it, testing it as much as you can, and then just putting it, metaphorically at least, into a drawer and coming back
yeah.
6 months later is good practice.
Right. And I think another way around that, if you want to spend a little less time forward testing, is to go and do your back tests during different market times. Like pick a time when you thought the market was like really in a good uptrend or in a bad downtrend or really just doing nothing, and test it in those 3 different market climates. Back test those areas for the symbol that you're trading to specifically, because Euro USD may not be performing the way the S&P is trading or the Nasdaq's trading. So I think those things could help expedite that, move it a little bit forward, and that way you don't have to do as much forward testing. And then you could use your forward testing just to make sure the mechanics are working, and you already know your strategy is very good.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? One of the changes that we introduced was to close a position really quickly, to just try and lock in gains. But that, in practice, it just did not perform. And this is one of the strategies that we had to drop.
yeah, and I think it's just because of the basic commissions and slippage that you experience in real life trading that you don't have it in back testing. So your back test could show really good performance, but there is a little bit of slippage and there's no way around it. Everybody has different levels of slippage. The further you away from the market you are, your broker, for instance, all the things kind of play into slippage. So I think that the commissions and slippage are really important to take in consideration when you have a strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hugely important in the 5 minute. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time left, not very long. So let's talk about the new strategies that we're working on. What's most exciting you, Ren, at the moment on the new strategy or a new market?
Well, I'm excited to see your new strategies. I've been really enjoying the Bollinger. It kind of surprises me that how well it does. It's just a basic strategy that everybody pretty much knows, and it does perform. People don't talk about it that much, and I feel like what we've seen in our back tests and our live trading is surprising. More people don't trade mean reverting strategies. They do perform. They have a pretty decent win rate, and average win is better than the average loss. So I think generally it's just a profitable. It's not perfect by any means, but very good strategy. So I've been really enjoying optimizing the Bollinger.
Yeah.
How about you, Mark? What do you got there?
Yeah, so actually same on Bollinger. I've been looking at a new market, one that is completely new to me. It's a cross Aussie dollar against Canadian dollar, and What initially concerned me and why I wouldn't normally look at anything like this is wide bid ask spread. You've got a lot of spread to cover there. However, it looks to be a nice ranging market. So I've got a couple of versions of our Bollinger strategy with a couple of tweaks running at the moment. So I'm going to see how they perform and report back and introduce them maybe to the signals if we get some good performance. And something that we've been talking about for ages and that we desperately, or at least I desperately want to get up and running is particularly because of the market environment is some long only index futures strategies. So looking at NASDAQ in particular, which is the one going crazy at the moment. And the thing that I have looked at is using the super trend, which is an indicator that I've used and talked about for years and years. And I think it was last week or the week before, I picked up super trend, dusted it down, had a look at it on NASDAQ, and it performed pretty nicely, even on the 15-minute time frame, which is a shorter time frame than I've ever used before on this particular indicator and strategy. So we do need this strong momentum conditions, which we are getting at the moment. So that's the one I want to get up and running
Yeah,
as
I'm really
soon
looking
as
forward to
possible.
seeing. Really looking forward to seeing that because we have worked with different momentum strategies in the past, and really they work for a small period of time and then they start to fizzle out. So I'm really excited to see this because we do need a momentum strategy for trending markets that we have like we have right now. So it's always important to like look at your market climate and if you have a strategy you can apply to it. That's really exciting. So I'm excited to
Yeah.
see the super come to a live trading strategy.
Yeah. If anybody watching this is not familiar with the super trend, by the way, I have. I'm going to stick it on the screen now, and you can see this is the daily time frame, and this is one of the breakouts that we had. This is the one towards the end of January when we crossed above what was the red line here. If you can see my cursor, and we are at that point we're about. Let's say we on a closed basis, super trend is an indicator that works on the closing prices. We're about 11,860 and we're now 1,400. So
Wow.
yeah, we can always pick and choose nice scenarios, but this is a market that is well suited to here. Likewise, we got pretty strong moves to the downside. This is 2022. Again, I'm looking at the the daily time frame, and then some good moves to the upside in that we were getting in 2021. Now, if I go all the way down to the 15-minute time frame here, you can see, picking and choosing again.
Wow.
There's an example. Let's get
Yeah.
right up to the current date. Okay, well that's we didn't even mention we timed this for the stock market opening in New York. There we go. That was the opening bell there, opening bell candle.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there was any news or is it just very excited people. So there we go. Super trend. How I'm looking to do it is to limit the opening hours to during the main stock market opening times, and I am looking to try and take advantage of these strong rocket moves to the upside and not to lose too much when we get chopped up. When it's moving downwards, it's not a problem. It's, as always, it's when we get chopped up because we're going back and forth.
So, Mark, are you thinking using it as a long only strategy on the NASDAQ?
I am currently using it long only,
Nice. Yeah.
but there's no reason why we couldn't look for short. I think maybe larger time frame filter might be appropriate, but
Okay.
for the
Yeah.
moment, at least with the current market conditions, we've talked about this offline actually, haven't we, Ren? That
Yeah.
if we get the conditions right, trading becomes a lot easier, and if we're automating one directionally,
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
We're automating in
Yeah.
just either long or short because we've got the conditions. I've got a good feel, an accurate feel for which way the conditions are going. Things become a lot easier. So our Euro US dollar Bollinger Band is both directions on the 5-minute chart. Here, 15 minutes, but at the moment, at least long only.
Yep. That makes sense. A lot of sense, actually. It really does. I think that, yeah, we were talking about using AI to help us, you know,
Yeah.
dictate like what market climate are we actually running? Because if we know we're in a range bound market, we know the strategy that works best. I mean, Bollinger is going to kick butt, but if we're in a trending strategy, then super trend or something like any other momentum strategy we want to apply would really do better. So we've got two major market, conditions that if we can identify them quickly and accurately, would improve our trading, automated trading. It'd be
Yeah.
great to be able to switch back and forth between strategies without having to think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like we said, we've talked again offline about using AI to speed up this process. But yeah, that's one for the future. But yeah, definitely. If we know the direction, it all becomes easier. Okay, so unless there's any final questions, I think we're going to finish up here for today. We've talked about the Unity Excel trading model. If you've been watching this, you want more information, there is a link below the video. You can get on the email list and find out all about how you can start using Unity to trade your strategies, backtest, develop, analyze, and then trade your strategies, both in forward testing like we're demonstrating today and live. So thanks, Ren. Thank you for being here
Thank you, Mark.
again today.
Thanks for hosting. Yep, it's another good day out there. We have another winning trade under our belt. So
Yeah.
hey.
Okay.
Yep.
So any further comments, questions, you can contact us via Trade Informed. Make sure you're on the email list and find out what we are up to. And I look forward to hosting another live stream